Our first property is called the commutative property. There are two different commutative properties, one for addition, one for multiplication. For addition, it says that a plus b is equal to b plus a. Another way to say that is when you add two numbers, order doesn't matter. 5 plus 2 is the same thing as 2 plus 5. For multiplication, it essentially says the same thing. Multiplying, order doesn't matter when you multiply. 5 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 5. So this is what the commutative property says. If you're adding or you're multiplying, the order does not matter. Next is the associative property, and this starts to dealing with adding or multiplying three numbers. It says that if I have a plus b, all plus c, that's the same thing as a plus b plus c. So 5 plus 2 plus 4 is the same thing as 5 plus 2 plus 4. Another way to think of this is if you add three numbers, it doesn't matter which two that you add first. You can pick any two of them, and then add in the third one. And the same thing works for multiplication. Multiplying AB first and then C is the same thing as multiplying A times the product of BC. If I multiply 5 times 2 first, I would get 10 times 4. That would be the same thing as multiplying first 2 times 4 to get 8 times 5. The last one is called the distributive property, and this looks at actually combining addition and multiplication. So the actual property says that A times B plus C is equal to AB plus AC. If you multiply a number by a sum of two numbers, it's the same thing as if you multiply the number by each of the terms and then add the results. So this one's a little bit harder to see what's going on exactly, but we can draw a picture to demonstrate. So if I say 2 times 3 plus 4, well, I could do 3 dots plus 4 more. And the 2 out front tells me I'm going to double this. I want 2 rows of this. If it were a 3, we would have 3 rows. Now over here, this is 2 rows of 3. And this side is 2 rows of 4. And then if I add them up, I would get the total. And last, I'm going to look at using the distributive property a little bit. If I want to do something like 4 times x plus 2, my distributive property tells me this is 4 times x plus 4 times 2. And we can simplify that because we know that 4 times 2 is 8. So this is the same thing as 4x plus 8. Let's look at one more. W plus x times y plus z. So my distributive property tells me that I can do w plus x times y, and I can also do w plus x times z. I can then use my distributive property again. I could rewrite this as wy plus xy, and I could rewrite the next one as wz plus xz. So it is possible to use the distributive property multiple times.